Alright. This will likely not be as short as the last one. I got more notes. Um, and amusingly, I will admit this. Nowhere in here mention about Maul suppressing. Technically, there's still a chapter left, but the battles are done. Nothing about Maul suppressing their ability to see ahead, the prognostication with the lightsaber. So I don't know where I got that from, unless it is mentioned last thing with Obi-Wan confirming to the council that yes, this had to have been a Sith. Only a Sith could do that, but don't know. Anyway, so one point that I had in the previous video was the whole, how could Maul have been trained to reach this level? It doesn't make sense, because all of his training would have been in secret. Well, he's described in this as battle-trained and seasoned. The point comes up again. How? There is no battle he could have been in using his lightsaber that would not have potentially exposed him to the Jedi. Unless everyone were killed. So there's no witnesses. But if that's the case, you'd still have a battle that you'd have to account for. And why not talk about that? Why not give some background on Maul that is how he trained? Nothing. Fragile and flimsy. It's like, we just want this to be true, so we're writing. And I get it, an author can do that, but at the same time, it needs to be reasonable. This isn't. This is just we're saying it, not having foundation to it. Okay. Spot a typo. Fix that. So it does describe that Qui-Gon now having to fight Maul alone, just like in the movie, because he and Obi-Wan got separated thanks to the laser force field thingies, that he is able to push Maul back. Is actually got Maul on the defensive. Partly that's because once the field came down, Maul wasn't expecting such aggression from Qui-Gon, and so was constantly on his back foot until he finally just jumps over the melting pit. And that allows him to take a new stance. Basically, he collects himself. And by the time Qui-Gon starts attacking him again, he's prepared, and Qui-Gon is now more tired. But in any case, just explaining that, it also says that though Qui-Gon is old, he is still powerful. And this is good. I'm good with this. I like this. Especially if it turned it to it allows you to use a Jedi strength flows from the Force, which means a master of the Force should actually, Jedi Master should actually still be very powerful, regardless of his age. But no, it's because he's old that he can't keep up. It's like, you have such an opportunity to continue using that, and that would legitimately make Maul a better threat. You don't need the whole greatest swordsman in the galaxy. It could just be if you're reminding the reader that yes, his strength is flowing from the Force, and he's a Jedi Master. A legitimately experienced, powerful Jedi Master that could be on the Council. He's at that level, and this dude is matching him. That should be terrifying. That should absolutely be terrifying, because... So I need to swallow a little bit. Because Qui-Gon should be, like, peak strength thanks to the Force, and Maul can match him and in fact, be better than him, beat him. That's so much better, because that makes him a greater threat overall. Because it is, all the Jedi have the Force, right? I mean, it's like, think, Qui-Gon's one of the best swordsmen in the galaxy, except for Yoda, because we get him in some neat fights. Mace Windu, we get him in some neat fights. I mean, it's like, you tie it to the Force, now it actually gets a bit more interesting there, because there's greater implication. Skip over point 3, coming to point 4, because and 5, because... Okay, I have a few more points that concern this battle, so I want to cover those. One is simple. The fight in the book is actually more intense than in the movie. Because they have them dancing around a bit more, going more places, and also Obi-Wan and Maul start using the Force to throw objects at each other that they both have to cut away. Cut at to get rid of. So much more intense. I can understand why you're not doing that in the movie, but it still is one of those. Yeah, the book actually does make it a lot more intense, and also how they fight each other is different. So, like in the movie, as I recall, Maul butts Qui-Gon in the face with his lightsaber and then stabs him. In this, it's more Maul actually like swings like that or something and spins around to do a reverse lunge to stab him. So that's a bit different. There was another thing. There's also Maul is like swiping with the lightsaber when Obi-Wan is hanging in the pit. In this, it's no, he's actually just shifting it back and forth in his hands. The shifting back and forth suggests Maul is calm now. That he's expecting it's just a matter of time. I'm just passing the time doing this. Whereas the swiping at it, like in the movie, is actually much more aggressive. It's like taunting him to, yes, come up and I'll kill you, which actually then poses a problem, because Obi-Wan does come up and kills him. So, Maul should have been ready for that, and he wasn't. But anyhow, it still is. It's a bit more intense in the book. So, okay, Qui-Gon's killed. Obi-Wan now attacks. How is it Obi-Wan is able to challenge Maul here? Because Obi-Wan is weaker than Qui-Gon. It does say in the previous chapter, I didn't mention it, that Qui-Gon recognizes in Obi-Wan the potential to be better than him. But that doesn't mean that they're comparable at the moment. That just means, yeah, one day you might be better than me. Might be. Whereas this is, now he's able to charge at Maul, and is actually managing to push Maul back some. He's leaning on his youth to still be fast enough to avoid certain strikes. And also his rage, which I definitely want to focus on. But it is just, hang on. Okay, yeah, it is still this whole, Qui-Gon is so amazing, one of the best swordsmen in all the galaxy. Except that Maul is better than him, and apparently Obi-Wan is able to get real close to him such that he's still a threat to Maul. See, this is why you don't want to build somebody up like that unless you make them nigh on invincible. Because it is dangerous, because now it's well, what happened when they're poor, then that, when they're poor and so somebody beats them, that means no one should be a challenge to this guy. But you need somebody to be a challenge. You need Obi-Wan to be a challenge. So it's a bad idea. You don't do that. Especially not in the way that they would do it. And it is, I do have one story idea that I have that will involve sword fighting. Where there's one guy that he is basically the best. No one can really compete with him for multiple reasons. But one guy actually manages to seriously wound him. But there's a couple things here. One is that other guy will be depicted as being very strong, very powerful. Like, people can think he is legitimately a challenge. But there's also some other stuff about special qualities to their swords that also helps explain it. So it's like, all that is justified by what, and also there will be prior sword fights and such, so it's like, it is established what their strengths are, and how one is indeed, like, more skilled, more powerful, more disciplined than the other, but the other is raw power that's able to get up there, and he's got some other things going for him. So it's like that. I'm going to be careful because I don't want this situation, but I've already been thinking through this for another purpose, and it's like, you do want to make sure it makes sense, and this, I don't think it's valid. I don't think it's well done. Okay. So then this final point about the whole, Obi-Wan is using his rage. Like, he is angry and in grief because of seeing Qui-Gon receive a death blow. Technically, he's not dead yet, but still. I mean, it's actually kind of funny when you think about it, because it did occur to me. He just got stabbed, and Qui-Gon's like, huh? And then reacts. It's like, dude. I mean, it even describes, like, he takes a step back as the sword is withdrawn. It's like, dude, lightsaber in hand. Phew. Oh. I guess we killed each other. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just one of those things. Even in Empire Strikes Back, with the whole, you need to go at these things with lethal intent, okay? Like, you could even have had Qui-Gon be like, I'm stabbed. Grab the lightsaber to hold on to Maul and then cut his head off. That would have been fine. It would have been... You could have done that. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to say it. They should have. They should not have allowed Obi-Wan to have the kill. They should have not allowed that. It should have been Qui-Gon got it. Because then it justifies saying that Qui-Gon was so great a swordsman. Okay? This actually completely is better. It fully is. It fully is. I'm not just saying that because it's my idea. It legitimately would be better. Because now, Qui-Gon, best swordsman in the galaxy, that's, at least as far as the Jedi are concerned, and know about, best swordsman in the galaxy. He has to use, he basically has to exploit his own death to defeat this guy. Now you don't have to worry about how Obi-Wan scales to Qui-Gon. That's irrelevant. It's just, Qui-Gon was bested. But because the guy thought, I just killed him, and Qui-Gon's like, no you didn't. Just pull that in, slash through him, killing Maul instantly. Force shield goes down. Obi-Wan's able to. Oh, I think I said that wrong, combining syllables. Obi-Wan is able to come in, grab Qui-Gon. They have him, and also makes more sense now why Qui-Gon gets stabbed and is now just lying there while Obi-Wan and Maul fight. And by the time Obi-Wan manages to kill Maul, he comes back over, and Qui-Gon hasn't died yet. Like, it's still able to talk a little bit. It's like, it would make so much more sense. It doesn't lead to an issue. It's still, how was Maul trained to be at this level? There's other ways to fix that, but it still is. Qui-Gon can still be one of the greatest. It's just Maul managed to beat him. Right? Was just enough better, but Qui-Gon was that determined. And in some ways, that much a Jedi. That much dedicated to the destruction of evil, the destruction of the Sith, that with his death, with this fatal blow to him, he himself will deal a fatal blow. Right? That would have been so much better, a better ending to Qui-Gon, because you could still have the discussion with Obi-Wan, and as I was just saying, would make more sense. You don't know Obi-Wan's skill level here, but that's fine. It's not important either. He's got 2 more books, 2 more movies he's going to be in. It's like, you can, and he can also still have the whole Qui-Gon saying the whole that, he could one day surpass me, that he has that potential. Well, then you just have in the next stuff that, yes, he has been training, so he could surpass Qui-Gon, so he would not, because there's got to be another Sith out there, so that he would then know, okay, I'm going to be able to handle it. That would have been so much better. It legitimately would have been so much better. But no, that's not what we got. And I don't even know why. I legitimately don't know why. Unless it was you want to just build up Obi-Wan, but I don't think that's legitimate. I really don't. Because it's not, I don't think it's relevant. Characters are more than their actions, right? They're also the characters, what they do, their interactions, their temperaments and such, all that. You don't need to focus on Obi-Wan building him up on the action side, because you've built him up in other ways, and he's going to be building up more so. And it's also the whole, we know Obi-Wan continues into at least A New Hope. So it's like, there's going to be that time for him to progress, for him to develop. So letting him be weaker here is perfectly acceptable. It's fine. That's what they should have done. Okay, I am saying it. That would have been better. That would have been better. Better ending for Qui-Gon. It doesn't I don't think it helps or hurts Obi-Wan. I don't think Obi-Wan killing Maul matters that much, especially when you consider how he does it. And as I said, it's kind of silly, this idea that he could jump up. It also just occurred to me, what does he do? Maul has the high ground. And Obi-Wan tries to leap over him, who has a lightsaber, and Maul lets this happen. Whereas, so much later, somebody tries the same thing to Obi-Wan, and what happens? He loses 2 arms and an arm and 2 legs. Yeah, they really should have just let Qui-Gon kill Maul there. Let Obi-Wan continue. Even if you want to say, it hurts Obi-Wan, you know what? The benefit given to Qui-Gon's character to end that way, I think, is sufficiently greater. Should have done. That would have been better. Okay. 2 points left. 1. Naboo is so peaceful a planet. They don't really have the capabilities to defend themselves. That's why they needed to go to get help to deal with the whole Trade Federation. That's probably why Palpatine, besides the fact that he's from Naboo, that's potentially why Palpatine had the Trade Federation go there, because he knew it would be easy. And it's also distant, so the Republic won't actually care that much. They're so peaceful. So peaceful that that's why the Queen's throne has a compartment with 2 blasters in there that she can just go over to, open up, and do. Well, actually, no. She tosses one to Panaka and do. I'm sorry, but they're not even described as peaceful, technically. There are times when the Naboo are less described as that and more as just anti-war. Like, no, when we don't engage in warfare at all. So, like, they would have the barest of defensive capabilities. That's it. But, nah, she randomly, inexplicably, has expert-level weapons training and experience, and keeps a couple blasters in her throne. That apparently not even Panaka is aware of, her chief of security, because he's like, why is she going over to like, even he's like, what is going on here? It's just yeah. Hey, wouldn't it be awesome if this happens? Sure, but doesn't make sense. But it's awesome if it happens. That's not how you should tell stories. I mean, it's like, sure, but doesn't make sense. We can make it make sense so we can keep the awesome, but if we can't make it make sense, I'm sorry, give up the awesome. All right, and last thing, and this actually does bother me. The timeline for Anakin escaping the battleship after he fired the torpedo, which in the book he doesn't actually know what happened. He thought he missed, and then he just gets out of there. Whereas in the movie we see what happened, and then he has to escape with the explosions going off around him. No, in this he escapes, and is actually heading back to the planet. He doesn't even know that the ship is exploding until R2's like really beeping and whistling and like, look, and he sees a flash you can come out of it, and he's like, what? Then he looks around and sees. So it's like he is out of the ship and already heading down to the planet before it is exploding. Okay? But then you've got the Naboo pilots. It's right near the end. I think I can get to it quickly. It's blowing up from the inside, the voice on the intercom exclaimed. Was it us, Bravo 2? Rick replied quickly. We never hit it. Battleship continued to break up. Debris flew past the canopy of Anakin's fighter, which seems a little odd that he's probably going at full speed, and yet the explosion is still sending things ahead of him. I mean, he was... yeah, just seems odd. But anyhow, look, Bravo 2 broke the sudden silence anew. That's one of ours, out of the main hold. Must have been him. How? How do you know? He's already out. He's heading away from the battle entirely. And it's like, oh, yeah, it must have been him, because he just came out of the main hangar. It's like, you saw that? Why did you not comment earlier? It's blowing up from the inside. Wasn't us, Bravo 2. It's like, yeah, it's blowing up from the inside. Wait, I just saw one of ours leave. I mean, it's like, that's when you mention this. You don't... It is so much later that it makes no sense. It's like, no, he's out. You didn't see him leave, or else you would have already commented on it. So, yeah, this is like literally this distance of writing where here, and it's like, no, this had to be up here for it to make sense, but instead it's down there. All of this will help me hopefully remember not to hit a bit hard. That I wasn't expecting to do that a little bit when knocked out. Not enough, but just enough to be like, I can't keep talking at the moment. All of it will help me do a better job in my own writing. And maybe you. That is the whole idea here. To notice these things and be like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. So, let's not do it. Let's fix it. Chapter 24 is next. That's the final chapter, and then an overall video, which I also just realized I will need to make up a thumbnail for that. Well, Yeah. All right. See you next time.